Good afternoon, students. Welcome to your session on risk analysis with respect to mutual fund investments. Risk is important element of financial perspective because most of fundamental and advanced level of discussion on financial management deals with the risk and return. And as we're discussing mutual fund and its relevant application, it becomes very essential to know what the risk is all about and what type of risk application is there in the mutual funds. So we'll have a look at risk profiling and the risk type in the today's session. So we've been studying this risk management, risk analysis, risk perspective, risk estimation, different terms as such. And in the literal mean, the risk is a chance of harm or monetary resources. The risk is applicable to the loss or deterioration of your money power. The variability of returns from those that are expected is also called as a risk, and that is the reason your mutual fund is a risky investment because we don't have sure or guaranteed return on it. It would vary according to the external and internal factors affecting your mutual fund portfolio as such. The chance of financial loss, or more formally, the variability of returns associated with the given us terminology. So obviously, it is a chance or a probability of financial loss, or more formally, the variability of returns associated with a given asset class. So we have got mutual funds of different types, as we have discussed in the previous sessions. And equity mutual funds are on their returns as we look across. So we'll have a look at it accordingly, and we'll try to consider different class or the types of risks applicable in the given context. Now, this discussion is done based upon broad risk management perspective. And we have got business organization. And as we go along, the further classification as we are given. So if you come to strategic risk, so CG is nothing but corporate governance risk. And what is it? It is all about the leadership and the management change, or different people coming and taking over the control of the business organization. So whenever we say strategic risk, it is very important, essential, long term, and it encompasses what this CG risk. IPR, that is intellectual property risk, mergers and acquisition risk, competitive risk, and the ethical risks, what we have got. Now, as we go along, we have got details on all these risk factors. So we'll have a look at them as we move further. The next broad risk is financial risk, wherein IR, it is nothing but interest rate risk applicable to those companies or those institutions who are dealing with debt securities and all. FX is nothing but forex risk or foreign exchange risk. Companies involved in the international trade are affected by this risk prominently. Then CP risk is also affected. The next is the credit risk. The bank or the financial institution gives credit, and if it is not recoverable, then it becomes the credit risk or the NPA. And the investment risk R, with expected return, it has realized losses. So this is all about the financial risk management. Now, when you move further, it is operational risk, and it is more commonly dealing with the manufacturing, conversion, and the physical activities. So what are the risks associated with the operational factor? So you've got quality risk. We have committed to provide best quality product, and our quality definition says we promise what we deliver. But if you're not able to deliver what you have promised, then there will be a quality a risk as such. And I think in the past or in our Indian quality issues with respect to Cadbury chocolate, PepsiCo, etc., were common in that regard. Then infrastructure risk. If you don't have your own infrastructure, or if you don't predict your infrastructural facilities, then it is going to be operational risk. So if you've got machinery, if you've got plant, and if you're not insured, then obviously infrastructure risk will be there due to natural or artificial calamities. SCM, that is supply chain management risk. So both your inward and outward stock and inventory should be maintained at the optimal. Otherwise, it will be more on the operational risk and operational expenditure also. So this is about the supply chain management. What is failure risk? It is the failure of the operation what you have intended to carry on. If you have got a shift and you have got machines to do the job, and if you're not able to get it done, then it is functional risk, because you're not the only uh, say the functional or operational area wherein the product is manufactured. So but as you go along, there will be a large failure of one activity or conversion of your input into output. And if you're not able to do it well, then the production risk will come into play. So this is all related to the operational risk factor. Now, when we come to marketing risk, so it is CRM, that is customer relationship management risk. So we have to have more of customers and less of consumers, because customers gives you repetitive business opportunities. That is where we lag it in the long run. Then your STP risk, that is segment, target, and positioning risk. If your segment is wrong, if your target participant is wrong, and if you have selected wrong person to protect or position, the risk will come into play, because you have to position yourself as a leader, not as a laggard or a loser. So that is the reason STP risk is applicable in the marketing. Then we have got this new product development risk. You're doing that product development R&D activity regard of doing it. Then the brand risks, it is nothing but your brand equity, and we have already discussed your brand risk is nothing but a reputation damage. If you take into consideration the previous risks, like say the operational or the financial or strategic, directly, indirectly, it is going to affect the brand risk factor as such. For instance, as we are discussing the quality aspect and quality issues of certain companies, so that would matter in creating the marketing risk management. So this is all about risks applicable in the mutual fund industry. So we'll have a look at it as we go. I'll not discuss demand risk in detail. I'll come to it later on in the concluding session. But in general, if the demand for your product is decreasing, even though you have done more of marketing and promotion, then it is demand risk what you are realizing it. So the next is in detail. I'll try to quickly go through and run through. Then we'll discuss more on risk profiling now. CG risk, the risk that inside us, the employees, won't act in the best interest of owners, stakeholder, and the community. So we have got classic capital structure theories. Even we have got good governance theories and all. And the question is, how are we following employee-employer relationships? And obviously, employee is worker or professional or paid person, but your stockholders or your own company, you are the owners. So obviously, there's going to be some difference of opinion and all. So this risk will have to eliminate. So there should be a common interest for the society at large, and that will build up the top management level analysis. Intellectual property risk related intellectual property risk that intellectual property leaks to competitors. So if you take up sectors or companies in the knowledge sector, like say the drugs discovery, pharmaceutical companies, your IT companies, or medicine companies, and all. So all these people, they try to relate themselves, and they try to consider what other intellectual property assets they have got it. Because if you're doing a rapid R&D, and if somebody is trying to get the formula, or I would say the oral credit for it. So this should not happen. You should take care about your own selves. This intellectual property right, though it is mentioned from two perspectives, we'll have to always look at from the intellectual property right owner's perspective. So risk that intellectual property leaks to competitors. So if you take now, pharmaceutical company is manufacturing a drug, and that drug is highly effective. So it becomes imperative that the demand will be overflown and all. So to capitalize, to gain the access to it, the other company may ask you to provide the details and all. So that's how this intellectual property risk is considered in the strategic risk. Mergers and acquisition, the risk related to integrating firms. So I would say your mergers and acquisition, on one part it is risk, but the other part it gives more and more opportunities to the companies in the local, national, and international market. So the risk related to integrating firms. So if you integrate wrong firm, or if you language risk will come into play. So this again we'll have to avoid it. The competitive risk, you will not lose out to the competition. That is the competitive risk is all about. And again, it is fighting to the last breath, last. And we have to be always competitive in the market, in the business. Then only the success of your organization will be realized. Ethical risk, the actions, the behavior, what and non-supportive aspect as such. So this that your guiding principles and ethics will be breached. So we have to take care. We have to take care about ethical risk. Otherwise, it will be difficult to bring in the holistic approach. So this is all about your strategic risk. When it comes to the financial risk, the first IR, that is interest rate risk. We have heard about fixed interest and floating interest, and it is applicable more commonly on your housing loan. So if you have taken debt, or if you have taken the loan and the loan comes with the interest, and if the interest rate is changing, if it is fluctuating, it is a risk, and it is applicable only to the floating type of a loan, wherein according to the policy measure the rate of interest should vary to that extent of period. But in case of your fixed debt rate, the interest rate will be eliminated. But if the interest rate is going down, you cannot get the benefit out of it. So this interest rate risk will have to manage using your FRA or your foreign. We have to do it with the banking consortium or with the central bank's guidelines as such. So this is the interest rate risk. Currency risk, the risk of a change in exchange rates against your favor. Now, as we said, this is applicable more in commodity. This is more applicable in international trade-oriented companies if they're importing, if they're exporting. So they would be affected by the currency risk. And if you take into consideration, it will be very simple because there will be a problem on this. So better you don't lose out on it. So the risk of a change in the exchange rate against your favor, that is the currency, the risk is there. So risk of currency is nothing but international trade related parties. Then how do we check, or how do we realize it? So who will be affected? So it is import or export organizations, your banks, and those who are directly or indirectly related on the forex, that is foreign currency. So this risk will have to consider commonly. The next is commodity price volatility risk. The risk of price increase in critical inputs. So this is what we say about financial risk. So commodity price volatility risk. The risk of price increases in critical inputs. So as we mentioned, commodity price volatility is nothing but change in the price of your commodity. For instance, if you take up transportation industry, if the petrol diesel price increases, it is a risk to this industry. If you take up your petroleum industry, if the crude oil changes, it is again a risk to them. If you take up FMCG company, then they are dependent on many commodities. So if any change in the price of a commodity, it will ultimately affect their profitability and their overall business perspective. So this is about the CPV. Then the next is credit risk and the investment risk. The risk that a borrower will default on a debt. So it is nothing but the bank or financial institution has given the loan, and the borrower, the customer, he was not able to repay it. So it becomes a non-performing assets or a credit risk to the bank. An investment risk, the risk of a change in value of investment. For instance, as been said, you invested in equity or invest in a commodity market at a particular price, and in days to come, if the price is coming down and down, then it becomes the investment a risk. So, anytime if there is a change in the price or change in the return expectation, it is a risk in the financial context as such. So, this is about the credit and the investment risk. Next, when we talk about operational risk, so quality risk. The general risk of operational failure. You have promised that the product is of quality oriented, it will deliver what you have said. But you have got your operational facilities, and if you are not taking care about your infra, then it will ultimately have a challenge and the variability in days to come. So, if you take the present context of this COVID health issue, why is it private hospitals are not ready to share their hospitals or their infrastructure? Because there is a risk, there is a challenge. We never know. We gave the containment or health issue oriented facilities, and if infected people come, and if they try to stay for a longer time, and if the infection cannot be contained in all, then your infra will be at the challenge, because in future, even for the regular checkups and all, no patient will come to your hospital. So that is what the infrastructure is, it will be all about. But apart from it, in case of your businesses and all, for instance, your infra would be affected by the natural or artificial calamities and all. So that risk will have to take care. Then your supply chain management risk, the risk of logistics failure. You fail to deliver goods to your retail location on time for customers. So this is your SCM risk is all about. And I think you are familiar with this Domino's pizza. If you order and if they don't give it within 30 minutes, then your pizza will be free. And your company is not here to distribute free pizza, so they have to make money out of it. So they consider what are the logistic challenges and all, and they will ensure there should not be any logistic failure, because if you fail to move from one location to another location, and that too if you are not able to do it in 30 minutes, then you have to give that entire pizza free to your customer. So this is how the supply chain management risk is considered. The failure risk is the product or service failed to deliver. Many a times your vehicle and all, they don't start, they give you hand. So that is nothing but your failure risk is there. Production risk, you will fail to meet the production target. So it is more from a technical perspective, but we give you the highlights or we'll give you the gist of it, because you're targeted to produce 1000 units, but you are not able to do that. You are able to reach only 800 or 500. So that is the production risk what you have got. So this is with respect to the operational risk parameters. The next is marketing risks, wherein customer relationship risk, the risk of damage relationship with customers. So we have got consumer and we have got customers, and companies prefer to have more of customers and say less of consumer, because customer gives you a repeat business opportunity, and if you are able to create more customers, then it is worthwhile to do the business smoothly. If it is not, then you have to have the CRM risk. So CRM is means you are not able to connect, you are not able to maintain a good relationship with your customers, and that will always have a challenge to identify new customers for your product or your business organization. So this was about the CRM risk. STP, segmentation, targeting, and positioning. The risk of wrong or bad segment, target, and positioning strategy. So your product or your service or anything what you want to offer, it must be appropriately segmented. Then the target audience or the customers must be defined, and you should position yourself as a new, the first, or novel, something which likes people mentality or their psyche. So that is the STP risk is all about. And we have got so many examples of STP risk, but due to the time and our scope, I don't want to discuss more, but later we'll send it across. So this is the STP risk with respect to marketing application. New product development risk. The risk that new product will fail on the market. We developed, we did R&D, we did research, we did so many permission combinations and all, and we introduced a new product, but the new product did not appeal or did not considered much attention. So if that is the case, then your NDP or NPD will be at risk. Brand value risk, the risk of a decline in brand value. So we try to consider the brand value in terms of your book, as well as in terms of your other intangible asset class what you have created, and based upon those things, the brand value risk will be ascertained. If the brand equity or the brand value of your company is coming down, then it is assumed that you got a brand risk applicable to your birthday brand value is declining, and it is having direct impact on your market reputation. Lastly, demand risk, lower than expected demand for your products. So this demand risk is from market perspective, wherein lower market expectation leads to this demand risk, because there is equation, and we have got customers who are willing to buy even at a higher price, because demand is directly or indirectly related to the price factor. So the more the price, the lesser the demand, and lesser the price, more the demand. So this aspect will have to manage it. So this is with respect to the demand risk. Like say other risk, force majeure. So this is nothing but artificial or natural calamities, nature, flood, rainfall, or earthquake, then war or terrorism attack and all. So these are the man-made. Political, it is also with the political change. So the political party which comes in power or which takes legislative position, if they are not stable, then there will be always a political risk. Then compliance risk, the risk that you will fail to comply with laws and regulations. So we have seen certain conditions, certain star marks and all, and if you're not able to comply to the risk, then obviously you are breaking or violating the laws and the regulations. So you have to follow it thoroughly. Talent management risk, the risk of losing top talent to the other companies. And this is what we said in the earlier discussion. We had that hypothesis. We had that possibility of losing top people or top manager to the other competing firm. But if you have got better HR policy and all, then you can always take care about your talent as such. So this is all about the other risk factors what we have got it. The next is quickly, that is investor risk profiling or investor risk profile. You take up any human being, they try to exhibit these three risk behaviors. And as we go through the life cycle, risk profiling and then the risk stages also change accordingly. Feelings about risk differ among manager of firms. It is important to specify separate level of risk what you are searching for. So there are three basic risk preference behaviors: the risk indifferent, the risk averse, and the risk seeking. Now, it would be better explained with the help of this chart, and I'll come to it accordingly, and we'll do the analysis. So, if you take into consideration this, your x-axis is a risk, that is horizontal, and this y-axis is your return or expected required wealth what you get at the end of it. So now your x-axis is horizontal risk return profile analysis, and we do find here three curves. One is positive curve, one is negative, and one is neutral or close to neutral risk as such. So if you start discussing, so x1 and x2, these are the risk extensions, and we have got returns ranging from 0 to infinity. And in between your return, what is the risk seeking, what is indifferent, and what is a risk averse. So now here we can check. We would have given one more context. I think I'll make that. I'll write it over here. Say R1 and R2. Similarly, R1, R2. Okay. So we presume x1 r1 and x2 r2, and it would vary accordingly as we have considered. So when we take up the first, who are the risk averse? So you can see over here, your return is r1, and there is one more return is r2, and we have got the risk factors also. So R1 is applicable to X1, that is the risk associated with your investment class. So it is over here. Intersection is happening over here. And when we take up the second type of risk and the return, so it is X2. But what is the change in the return? So from R1, we are moving to R2. And from X1, we are moving to X2. So there is a change in the risk and there is a change in the return. So from X1, R1, we have moved to X2, R2. So whatever may be the changes there, or whatever may be that X1 to X2 or R1 to R2, that shows a risk averse behavior. So what is this risk averse behavior all about? So here we find it. The attitude toward risk in which no change in return would be required for an increase in risk is all about the risk indifferent. A risk averse, the attitude toward risk in which an increased return would be required for an increase in risk. And the final is the attitude towards risk in which the risk form required for an increase in return. So this is how the risk profiling we do, and I think the graph will explain better. So you can see a risk is horizontal, returns are vertical. We have got X1, X2, the risk movement, and we have got R1, R2. The curve is for the risk hour. So you can see that as the risk is increasing, the requirement of it is also increasing. So this is called as risk hours. So there is a common saying also: more the risk, higher the return, or greater the risk, greater will be the return. So based upon this, these people would take the risk, provided they have provided the guaranteed return. So the next is indifferent risk. The term itself, there is no change in the risk, there is no change in the returns, but they are enjoying. So indifferent means it is a neutral person. So he may not be no, or he or she, they don't want to change their perspective on the risk and the return. So it is straight horizontal line what we have got it over here. And the last is risk seeking, wherein there are investors, there are people who would be ready to take more risk even by sacrificing the returns in the short run. But in the long run, they make a very high bet, and that would help them to realize the losses what they took while taking the risk in his life. So this graphical form represents us what is risk our risk different and risk taking behavior of customers. So you can see over here, this is indifferent, higher the risk, higher the return, uh, higher the risk, same is the return, or risk has reduced, but you are given only 5,000. So this is about that risk return analysis and the risk profiling is all about. And we try to consider an exercise. So you can go through this exercise, and you will know what is your tolerance level as such. So what you'll do, you'll take up the test first, and then you can go for knowing your risk profile, whether you are risk averse, you are risk indifferent, or you are risk seeking person. So this exercise is there, you can just read and you can just tick mark whatever is applicable, and finally you can take up the score metrics and you can calculate the details as such. So this was all about your SIP, that is scheme risk factorization analysis what we have decided to be. So I would give you time to complete this, and then later we shall go on with the financial blood test reporting system as such. So this is it all about risk management and risk analysis in the mutual funds.